good. Thanks, man.
For sure. It's homemade.
Good one, Lance. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. Got a little bonus hitting lines there to just, whet your appetite for this match right before first serve starts. Welcome back live from Orlando, Florida, in conjunction with AAU Boys Junior Nationals. This is the Volleyball League of America Tier 1 Championship Tournament. This is the final match of pool play. The winner of this match between the New York Legion Volleyball Club, Team LVC, versus the SoCal Rising Tide. The winner of this match takes the #1 seed into tomorrow morning's semifinals. Both of these teams won their pool play games earlier today, both 3-0. Team LVC beat the Phoenix Ascension 3-0. Rising Tide beat the Boston Bounce 3-0. The winner of this will be the favorites to take the season-long championship tomorrow. We'll get on the mic here in the house to address the fans around center court here, court 50, and introduce the starting lineups. Then first serve will be right after that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to court 50 for the Volleyball League of America 2023 Tier 1 Championship Tournament. This is the final match of pool play. Winner of this match enters tomorrow's semifinals as the #1 seed. This will be between the defending champions, the New York Legion Volleyball Club, Team LVC in white out of Albany, New York, versus the West Division champions from Irvine, California in blue, the SoCal Rising Tide. Go ahead and line up at the baseline, boys. We'll do the handshake and then introduce the starting lineups here in just a moment. Make some noise for these two teams. Come on now. Played some great volleyball today. It's only going to get better tomorrow. New York versus Southern California. Great matchup. Two founding 5 VLA teams. A league founded by 5 franchises. These are 2 of them. And now to introduce the starting lineups. Who wants to go first? Who wants their lineup introduced first? I think we're going to go with Team LVC first, introducing the starting lineup first from the New York Legion Volleyball Club, Team LVC out of Albany, New York. A 6-foot setter from the University of Hawaii, #2, Joby Ramos. A 6-foot outside hitter from Stevens Institute of Technology, #4, Dave Evans. A 6'5" outside hitter from the Ohio State University, #19, Nick Schergen. A 6'5" opposite from SUNY New Paltz, #16, Nikki Smith. A 6'8" middle blocker from George Mason University, #10, Lance Rogers. A 6'7" middle blocker from St. Francis University, #12, Mike Marshman. And a 6'1" libero from Nazareth College, #25, Owen Wickens. Team LVC is managed by Chris Hosley, coached by CJ Denk. And now in blue, the champions of the West Division, the SoCal Rising Tide. A 6'3" setter from the University of Hawaii, #15, Josh Friedman. A 6'5" outside hitter from UC Irvine, #7, Aaron Kuby. A 6'5" outside hitter from Concordia University Irvine, #14, John Predney. A 6'6" opposite from Concordia University Irvine, #9, Owen Chun. A 6'5" middle blocker from UC Irvine, #22, Ian Castellana. A 6'10" middle blocker from Cal Baptist University, #23, Chris Johnson. And a 5'9" libero from Concordia University Irvine, #1, Ryan Radira, who also doubles up as the manager for the SoCal Rising Tide. First serve coming up next.
All right.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is very possible. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there right now. It is very possible that this is a preview for tomorrow morning's championship, or tomorrow afternoon's championship match. These two teams, Team LVC out of New York and the Rising Tide out of Southern California, have played the best volleyball so far today. Both have played tremendous volleyball so far this season. Both know what it takes to get it done in a tournament like this, and based on the matchups, the only time they could see each other tomorrow in the bracket play would be in the finals. So keep that in mind. This might be a preview of the title game tomorrow afternoon. But first, it's Joby Ramos, the reigning MVP of the league, serving for New York in white on the near side. And a perfect start for the Rising Tide. Number 9 in blue, Owen Chun, the lefty out of Concordia Irvine. It's the Rising Tide on the board first. SoCal won the West Division Cup this year in San Diego in February. Went on to win the West Division regular season. That is a foot fault against the setter, Josh Friedman, number 15 in blue for the Rising Tide. So Team LVC on the board. That sends one of the most lethal servers, not just in the league, but in the world. Nicolas Sherzhin, born in France, is reclassified to his native Poland. And on his way to playing in the Polish Plus Liga, won a couple of national titles in the NCAA for Ohio State. Chun on the left side is dug by Wickens off the block touch. There is Sherzhin right away on the back row quick, or the Bick combination. Beautiful choice by Joby Ramos to go to Sherzhin and keep his own service run alive. 2-1 New York early on. My name's Rob St. Clair, by the way. Thanks very much for tuning in live on the VLA YouTube channel for the Tier 1 Championship Tournament. This is our playoff event to culminate the entire season. And look at that, a tape trickler ace. Lucky break for Sherzhin there. The man racks up his fair share of aces. He led the Plus Liga in aces 2 seasons ago, which is insane. But most of them come with a little more authority than that one. Kind of like that. That's more like it. Just a hammer of an ace serve from Nico Sherzhin. One of the fastest arms on the planet. Quick 4-1 start for Team LVC. Best 3 out of 5 set match here. First to 25 points, must win by 2, takes all these sets. That is another good dig by Owen Wickens off the block touch, but unfortunately right on top of the net. And Ian Castellana, number 22 in blue, gets his own rebound after the initial attack and taps it to the floor. This is the exact same serve-receive unit that won Team LVC the VLA title last year. Owen Wickens at libero, Nico Sherzhin and Dave Evans at outside hitters. And that ball is not even close, way out of bounds. And John Predney laughs it off. We were just sorting out volleyballs there. I see Nico's wife, Allie, in the chat. That's awesome to see. Thanks for watching. Good dig there by Sherzhin, but unfortunately a net violation by the New York block.
Straight up, Nick!
So 5-4 Team LVC is the score. Make sure, anyone watching, let us know. Get active in the YouTube live chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. Let us know where you're watching from. If you have any questions, let us know if everything looks and sounds okay on the broadcast. First swing on the right side for Nikki Smith, number 16 in white. Playing a little bit out of position. We've seen him throughout this season playing outside hitter. And given Jordan Vari a break on the right side, Team LVC going to see if they can put Nikki Smith on the right and keep their level high. And he came in the 6-2 earlier this morning and looked pretty good in this position. That is a foot fault, just barely by Smith. Yeah, definitely the right call. So Owen Chun back to serve. The lefty for the Rising Tide came off the bench this morning, and the 6-2 helped the Rising Tide to beat the Boston Bounce, but not a particularly good serve there. Just got the corrected on the score. 7-4 is correct. And now Ramos makes a pretty good play there and gives Scherzen an out-of-system chance. What a shot. Unbelievable 4-4. Thumb down nasty. Sharp cross-court cut shot by Nico Scherzen. That was gorgeous. Very nice. And interesting 50-50 play earlier in the rally by Ramos to choose not to block against Aaron Kubi and instead play the short tip shot, and that was absolutely the right read. Ace serve, Dave Evans right inside the position one sideline. Clean, untouched ace, and LVC coming out flying on a Sunday night with only one thing in mind this weekend, and that is defending their title. This will be the fourth season championship in VLA history. The first two won by the Chicago Icemen. Last year won by Team LVC. Good swing there by Kubi, number 7 in blue. The French outside hitter out of UC Irvine. The Rising Tide this year won their first VLA Cup Series tournament in history, taking home the West Division Cup. Also now looking for their first league title. Scherzen chopped through the block. Friedman's underneath it. Predny against 3 guys. High, good block touch there. Now Ramos with a chance in transition. What a dig by Kubi. Oh, and that's a net violation against Ramos, the blocker. Outstanding dig by Aaron Kubi in position 6 against Mike Marshman. Beautiful deep cross-court rip there by Scherzen. Such a fast arm. He makes blockers, just scrambles blockers' timing in such a way because they have to get their hands over the net half a second faster than against other attackers. Here is Marshman back to serve. Had an outstanding season playing for one of the best teams in France in Chaumont in the LNV. Nice feed. Friedman to Chris Johnson. One of the very best middle blockers in the country. KJ, as we call him, number 23 in blue, back to serve here. Spent some time on the U.S. senior national team. 6'10" and an outstanding athlete. Good block touch there against Scherzen. Excellent chance in transition. Predny, cross court off of Wickens and out of bounds. Beautiful break point there. Block defense to transition for the Rising Tide. John Predny's second team all VLA outside hitter a season ago. Scherzen blasts that one cross court again, finds a small seam in between the blockers. Speaking of last year's All VLA Awards, the reigning MVP in the house right here, Joby Ramos, setter out of the University of Hawaii. He is an absolute difference maker, and that includes from the service line. Pretty good one there right on cue, but absorbed beautifully by Kubi, and that ball is touched, I believe, by Rogers, yes, on the way out of bounds on the back one there from Castellana. Josh Friedman back to serve, the outside hitter out of Hawaii. And that time the tape gets in the way. Want to direct everyone's attention as well to number 25 in black, Owen Wickens, out of Nazareth College in upstate New York. He's a Rochester, New York kid. His brother Spencer played for Team LVC earlier today. He is maybe the best all-around utility player in the league. Wickens can play 4 different positions. He can set, he can play either wing, and of course right now as he is, he can play libero. That is pretty remarkable. Oh, a tape trickler ace. Okay, we're even on the scoreboard in that category. Sherzhen had one earlier, and there's one from Predny. Just demoralizing. Nothing you can do about that if you're Team LVC. Don't be alarmed or don't be turned off by the volume of service errors every so often in the men's game. These two teams are no exception because they really just have no choice but to be aggressive and try to put on as much pressure as they possibly can, with only a couple exceptions. That one there from Rogers, pretty conservative, and results in a straight down bomb from Owen Chun, and that's exactly my point right there. If you serve easy balls, if the other team is able to pass that first contact perfectly, the only thing you're going to do is be the victim of highlight reel plays like that. You've got to serve tough at this level, and really every level, especially in the men's game. Smith rolled and somehow kept alive, but then Smith absolutely all over the net as he tries to throw down or initiate the joust and maybe push through. And we're tied up at 13. Rising Tide doing a nice job fighting back from an early deficit. Easy serve, perfect pass by Wickens, and Dave Evans on the left side, number 4 in white, with I think his first kill of the first set. He had the ace already, but it's the first offensive point that I remember. Evans, the former National Player of the Year in NCAA Division III at Stevens Institute of Technology, and to get that award as a 6-foot-tall, 6-rotation outside hitter is pretty remarkable. Ooh, bit combination, not perfect. We'll have an out-of-system swing here from Evans in transition for Team LVC. Blasted cross-court off of Kubi and out of play. What a shot by Evans. Smith back to serve out of the outstanding Division III program, SUNY, State University of New York, or SUNY New Paltz. Won a couple national championships in Division III. Good dig there. Right on Ramos's head. Sherzhen on the bick is thrown back by Johnson for now, but then Ramos takes a swing. Okay, aggressive front court setter play. I like it. (16-13) now, the LVC lead. Coach CJ Denk patrolling the sidelines as always for Team LVC. Pretty good pass there from Kubi. Kubi tipped and misses the sideline. A rare off-speed, unforced error from the very well-rounded Aaron Kubi. We saw him come off the bench earlier today. Played a tiny bit of middle blocker, something I haven't seen him do before. I've seen him set in an emergency situation. I've seen him play both wings, but not in the middle. But here Kubi is getting the started outside hitter. See if LVC can keep putting pressure on him. Perfect pass there by libero Ryan Radira, and a no-doubter in the middle from Chris Johnson. Nice delivery by Friedman. Looks like a little double substitution in here. Number 21 in blue, Serge Nadazhdin, who started at outside hitter this morning, this time in at opposite. And number 25 in blue, Mason Tufunga, the left-handed setter out of Stanford, will go back to serve. So we saw this similar, not the same personnel substitutions, but the same strategy, bringing in the backup setter and opposite earlier for the Rising Tide, and it worked well for him. Perfect pass there by Wickens. Smith out of the back row is roofed by Johnson. Big time stuff blocked by number 23 in blue. And now a similar substitution for Team LVC coming up. We got Eric Martin, the backup setter, and it's going to be Blake Leeson, number 11 in white, who comes in at opposite, who's a superstar middle blocker if you're familiar with the league or familiar with the Ohio State National Championship teams. But I like this. Put Leeson at opposite. Let him bang some balls while you try and save Jordan Vari. And Eric Martin at 50 years of age, make no mistake, still very much a world-class setter. But tight passes like that are a little tricky for him. A transition chance now for the Rising Tide. Nice feed there, right on cue. Martin to Marshman. Eric Martin, nicknamed E, just a legend of the East Coast volleyball community. Still plays in his glasses. Still sets nectar. Evans misses that serve short that time. Tight pass again, and that'll be a back row attack against Martin, and that is a bit of an adjustment. Like that pass there from Wickens probably is perfect if Joby Ramos is the setter, but got to adjust how far off the net you pass the ball when Eric Martin is in there. 1 point game now. Kubi driving that float serve in pretty hard. Schergen will take an out-of-system swing against 3 blockers and somehow finds a weak point through the hands of Nadazhdin and down. That is a terrifying triple block to go up against and hit a shot like that with that amount of confidence. That's pretty special. Two-point lead for New York. Mike Marshman back to serve, one of the best serving middle blockers you'll find anywhere. Good one there, right on cue, off the tape and splits the seam for a big insurance break point for New York. Marshman, an Albany, New York kid, played collegiately at St. Francis in Pennsylvania, and he's going to get another chance to serve after this Rising Tide timeout. 20-17 Team LVC. Getting good here late in the first set. Good question. Perfect. Don't change. Let's see if this timeout slows down Marshman in any way. Great pass there by Kubi. And Johnson thumped to the floor in the middle on the 31 once again. 3 different setters that we've seen so far today for the Rising Tide, and all of them connecting pretty well with Johnson on that middle play. I like that. Substitution in here for the Rising Tide as well. Number 5, Blake O'Martian, the backup libero, in as a serving specialist. Not a great pass there by Evans with his hands. Schergen blasts that one deep cross court off of Kubi. That ball is history. And now the original setter and opposite for Team LVC will come back in. So Ramos and Smith. And the serving substitution is undone on the Rising Tide side. So both teams trying to use as many of their 6 substitutions as they can here late in the set. It is Team LVC that leads 21-18. Ramos back to the setting duties and to the service line. Nadazhdin is blocked and covered. Kubi on an interesting back row spacing play is dug. Ramos is able to deliver a hittable ball, and Smith gets the block touch plus a net violation by the blocker. Yeah, I saw the touch. The down official saw the net touch. And LVC gets the point. Very nice dig. And a good bump set play for Ramos to turn that into a hittable ball. (22-18) New York. Tight pass by Radira. Tafungo gets hands on it and somehow gets it to Castellano, who's able to go through the block of Rogers and Smith. I'm not sure how he manufactured that space. And so the original setter and opposite will come back in now for the Rising Tide. Friedman at the setter and Chun at opposite, and that will do it for the Rising Tide substitutions. They've used all 6. Pretty easy serve there from Friedman. Ooh, and a misconnection to Rogers in the middle. I think they were not on the same page about the spacing away from the setter. And unforced error there. Gets the Rising Tide back within 2. Pretty rare mistake. Sherzhen navigates the bit of a traffic jam on the right side and no problem off the block and out of bounds. Rising Tide now need a side out of rotation 1. No, wasn't sure if that was a substitution call or a timeout. It is a timeout, Rising Tide, their second and final. Got 2 timeouts, might as well use them. And they'll try and engineer a bit of a comeback here late in the first set. Out of the timeout, Nick Sherzhen back to serve, 23-20 New York. Looking to put the finishing touches on a first set victory here. That ball is passed up into the rafters, didn't touch a thing. And Chun takes a swing off the fingertips of the block. Oh, that ball is definitely touched as far as I thought. Yeah, and admitted to by Smith, good sportsmanship. So the Rising Tide successfully get Sherzhen off the service line. Now Predny's turn, and he can be a dangerous server. Now would be a great time to wake up in that area. But he can't. Puts it in the middle of the net, and now set point coming up. And off the bench comes the MVP of the East Division Cup, opposite Jordan Vari, but this time in a service sub role. Jordan in to serve for Lance Rogers at 24-21 Team LVC. Perfect pass. Chun through the block. Deflects out of bounds, so 1 set point saved. Yeah, in and out. So Ian Castellano now serving for the Rising Tide, represents their last chance. Set point Team LVC in reception, and Mike Marshman punctuates it in the middle to wrap up set number 1. Team LVC takes it over the Rising Tide 25-22 in our coastal battle here at the Tier 1 Championship in Orlando. It is the East Coast that draws first blood over the West Coast on Sunday afternoon. Teams will change sides. We'll be right back with a lot more volleyball live from AAUs in Orlando. Set number 2 coming up next. Set number 1 goes to Team LVC out of Albany, New York, 25-22. They take it over the SoCal Rising Tide. Best 3 out of 5 sets, though. At least 2 more sets of volleyball coming your way in just a minute. Set number 2 ready to go here live from Orlando. Last match of pool play at the 2023 VLA Tier 1 Championship. Team LVC leads the Rising Tide 1-0. I'm Rob St. Clair. Thanks for tuning in live on the VLA YouTube channel. Josh Friedman, the setter for SoCal, will get us started serving on the near side. And well watched by Team LVC as that goes out of bounds. Ball might have been going out of bounds. Played by Radira, passed a little bit too tight, and Lance Rogers is there waiting for it. Lance Rogers, one of the very finest blockers in the entire VLA. Not quite as much of a threat on offense as maybe he used to be, but one of the best thinking middle blockers we've got in the league right now, and always a treat to watch. Scherzin almost made that defensive play, but it was slowed down off the tape and confused him a little bit. I like that spacing that the Rising Tide is using on the backcourt play to Kubi, sort of running it halfway between the traditional pipe spot and the D-ball spot out of position 1. That different spacing is pretty unique and makes the blockers' lives really difficult. Nice set to Scherzin over the head. Good block touch, slows him down. Friedman to Kubi, deep cross court and right on the sideline. Perfect shot there by the Frenchman in transition. Good serve there from Predny. Scherzin is stuffed straight down. What a block by Aaron Kubi. And Castellana there as well. I mentioned Scherzin was born in France. Both those guys were countrymen once upon a time, Kubi and Scherzin. That was violent. I liked it. I hope he does it again. Predny slowed down by the tape. Good pass. Evans, sharp cross court. No, excuse me, that's Nikki Smith, the opposite on the left side, who gets the kill off Radira and out of play. Very nice luxury for Team LVC in this lineup configuration to have a more natural outside hitter lining up at opposite is that you've got a guy in rotation 1 who's used to hitting on the left. That helps. Scherzen working on Kubi. Pretty good pass. Chun straight over the top of the block of Dave Evans. That is a very good matchup for SoCal. Owen Chun at 6'5" at least, and ridiculously vertical over the smaller blocker and Dave Evans. See if SoCal keeps using that matchup. They do lead 4-3 here early in the second set. Rogers, deep wrist away, right perfectly located in the position 5 corner, and we're tied up at 4. Look at that, a 2-ball, the crossover X play from the Rising Tide. Read pretty well and then rolled out of the back row in transition. Off speed by Scherzen finds the floor. Man, that creativity from the Rising Tide was sniffed out from a mile away. Johnson on the 31, Kubi on the 2-ball. Very interesting. And Chun straight down the line. That's exactly the matchup I'm talking about, making that look easy. Tie us up at 5, and Chun goes back to serve. Nice feed by Ramos to Marshman in the middle. Ball passed off the net ever so slightly, and that's when really the best setters are at their best in terms of setting the middle. It becomes slightly less predictable, and you've got to have that in your wheelhouse at this level. And 4 very good middle attackers on display right now between these two teams. Kubi blocked by Marshman, and well watched by Chun as it goes out of bounds wide of the Rising Tide sideline. Not a great pass by Evans with his hands. He sends over a free ball. Great look for the Rising Tide in transition. Predny slowed down. Ramos to Scherzen, tipped and kept alive by Chun. Predny with very little approach, tries to jump stop, get up and take his swing, and he misses it out of bounds long. So a couple decent looks there for the Rising Tide in transition, not quite capitalized upon. There's that interesting back row ball to Kubi again. Read pretty well by Team LVC, but Kubi is there on the rundown. Ramos to Marshman. Destroyed in the middle, right on the sideline. Yeah, the Rising Tide can't believe it. I think that ball smoked to the outside of the line. Man, I don't know what to call that play, that Kubi back row play that's halfway between the Bick and the D-ball. Whatever it is, I like it. However, the Rising Tide have used it a couple times, and the only thing we've seen is off speed out of it. That is anything but off speed. That ball crushed in the middle by Chris Johnson. KJ back to serve. His Rising Tide trails by 1. And Wickens barely able to get underneath that. Now Scherzen against 3 blockers. High and covered easily. Scherzen again, this time high fingertips and able to terminate. That is such smart, mature outside hitter play from one of the best in the world. Now Marshman back to serve. See if he can separate New York a little bit here. Currently leading by 2 at 9-7. Good reception unit, though, for the Rising Tide. Oh, a serve. Oh, my goodness. Right on cue. That is No matter who your serve reception unit is, nobody is touching that ball. That is right on the sideline in position 1. What a beauty from Mike Marshman. Radira fights that one off. Pretty good pass. Predny accelerates, slowed down by a touch, and Smith able to chase it down. And Scherzen jumps to the inside ball, gets a fingertip on it. He's caught by his teammate Lance Rogers, and he gets the kill out of it. That's a bonus. So the Marshman service run continues. It's now 11-7 Team LVC. One-handed stab pass attempt by Radira. This is brought back. Free ball for Team LVC. Scherzen destroyed sharp cross court. What an incredible angle. Just spectacular. And yes, you can pursue. I think that's Marshman's question. And we'll get that answered. But I think what we also have is a rising tide timeout. 12-7. Marshman doing a lot of damage from the line right now. Yep, they can go do that. That's vicious. Okay, what can Marshman do out of this timeout? Boy, has he served the ball extremely well so far today. 12-7 New York. Cuts that one short. Kubi gets underneath it barely, but the rising tide can't scoop it off the floor to send it back over. Marshman is doing it every which way. Right, left, and short. It is a nightmare of a trio to try and pass the ball against. And sure enough, LVC has created some serious separation. 13-7 in set number 2. Marshman again. Almost the identical serve. That ball is barely out of bounds. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay. I think we had an indifferent call by the line judge and an overrule by the up official. I thought that ball was out. Oh, never mind. Call's been reversed. That's another ace serve for Mike Marshman. The call of the line judge is the one that stands. That ball is in. I wonder if we can go back on the YouTube replay and take a look at that. So Marshman tags yet another position 1 sideline for another ace serve. It continues here. Good pass there by Kubi, and finally John Predny is able to end the run. Marshman went back there at 9-7, and all of a sudden it was 14-7, now 14-8. Smith out of the back row, a nice high flat shot off the fingertips of the block. Perfect. All right, we got the score correct. 15-8 is correct, and Joby Ramos will go back to serve. Pretty good block touch there against Chun, but negated by a net touch by the New York block. I believe it was Rogers. Good pass, or decent pass by Scherzen there against Predny. Smith, dug by Radira, but that ball is on its way underneath the net, and nobody from the Rising Tide can track it down. And if you thought that you could take a break because you got Mike Marshman off the service line, think again. Now you have to deal with Nick Scherzen. And the Rising Tide catches a break on the service error, and now they're going to bring in, I was thinking it might be 2 substitutions. It's just 1 substitution. Number 4 in blue, Andrew Kim, who started at outside hitter earlier today, played great. This time in as a service sub for Castellana. Good serve, and an ace serve off of Evans, off the bench for Andrew Kim. That is not an easy job, to be cold sitting on the bench like that and come in and deliver a hard jump serve inbounds. That is very well done by Andrew Kim out of Vassar College in upstate New York, ironically. Another good one from Kim. This one passed better. Rogers is stuffed by Johnson. KJ was all over that. The service substitution to Andrew Kim paying huge dividends here for the Rising Tide as they try to make a comeback in the second set. Wickens handles that one easily off the tape. Evans hammered down the line. Takes that space left to him by the block. And Kim will go back to the bench, but a very productive substitution for him in the Rising Tide. However, the deficit is still 5. Nice run from Friedman to Johnson. It's been basically automatic throughout this match. Any of the Rising Tide setters going to Chris Johnson on that gap, that 31. And similarly, Ramos trying to go back to Marshman on the same play. Ball set a little bit too low, and Johnson was there on the block anyway, so the Rising Tide take that point. And only trail by 3 with still a decent amount of time left in the second set. Chun serving. What a gorgeous run. Just beautiful. Ramos to Scherzen out of the back row. Absolutely no blockers anywhere close to stopping that one. And now we're going to see the double substitution for Team LVC. Eric Martin will come in at setter, and Blake Leeson will come in at opposite. Hopefully Blake can get a swing or two this time. I think when we saw the same substitution in the first set, Leeson didn't get a chance to hit any balls. Pretty good set from Friedman to Johnson. Block all over it. Scherzen out of the back row, off speed and down. Nobody from the Rising Tide able to keep that one alive. 5-point LVC lead once again. And a setter change, just a straight up 1-for-1 setter change. Mason Tufunga, number 25 in blue, in for Friedman. Kubi ripped cross court. That was also a net touch against, I think, Leeson. So Kubi gets the side out, no problem, and we'll go back to serve. One-handed scoop by Kubi defensively creates a transition chance, and Predny puts it away. What a dig by Aaron Kubi. He's having a laugh about it as he goes back to serve once again. Oh, what a rip by Dave Evans. I don't know where that went in relation to the block. Maybe a field goal on Predny, right between his hands maybe. Nice rip by Evans. Rare attack for him on the right side. 2016 New York. Evans forces the overpass, and Scherzen throws it down. Good serving by Dave Evans. That's whenever you get an overpass, sometimes the glory goes to the guy who ends up getting the kill or the throwdown block or whatever, but the credit goes to the server, 100%. Pretty good pass by Radira. Oh, and a big misconnection there from Tafunga to Johnson. Couldn't even touch the ball a third time. And this is looking like a 2-0 LVC lead at 22-16 in the second. Substitution in here for SoCal, Blake Omartian. Backup libero in once again as a service and defensive substitute role. Hey, there's Leeson on the right side. Martin gets him a ball, and Leeson puts it away. Omartian will go back to the bench. Marshman off the tape. Tafunga to Predny. Got the fingertips for sure. Nice high swing by John Predny facing. Let's see. Make sure we have the score correct here. Okay, 23-18 is correct. Scherzen is stuffed straight down. What a block by Castellana. Not over yet. Nice move by number 22 in blue. Has been a little bit quiet. That block was anything but. Tafunga, the lefty, serving to try and get the Rising Tide back into this thing before it's too late. Chop short, Wickens is all over it. Rogers in the middle, a scoop by Kubi again with one hand, but not well enough to be controlled. And so now at set point New York, the original setter and opposite will come back in. Ramos and Smith, with Ramos to serve for the set. Radira fights it off. Chun the lefty on the left side. Stay alive. Goes high off the block of Smith, who looked up, couldn't find the ball, and he was the closest guy to being able to keep it alive. So one set point saved by the Rising Tide. And now Predny represents their last chance. 20 serving 24. Predny forces the overpass. Tafunga to Chun, really tight set. He has to send it over with the right hand, non-dominant. Scherzen goes off the block, and Predny on the rundown attempt can't quite bring it back into play, so that will do it. Team LVC uses a huge run from Mike Marshman midway through to separate and stay separated, and New York leads SoCal 2-0, 25-20 in the second. So, will it be our fourth sweep of the day? All we've had so far is 3-0s, the three previous matches. Could this be another one, or will the Rising Tide give us more volleyball to watch? I'm hoping for the latter, but we'll see in just a minute when we come back with set number 3.
This is from my bitchy wife.
C-ball's a back one, not a back row ball.
In women's volleyball, they go
A, B, C, D.
Yeah, so no, A, B, fight, C, D.
I hate that.
I do too.
It's horrible.
I know. Because I've had that discussion with them before. Because I don't want that on my women's team.
Thank you.
I'm not going to answer back to that. When we talk later, talk volleyball. Just going to run to the bathroom.
Go for it. Go for it. Set number 3 ready to go here from Orlando, and it starts with a bang. Joby Ramos with another LVC ace serve to position 1. We've seen a lot of those. Ramos goes to the same spot. Radira is all over it this time. So is Ramos on that off-speed attempt. And now Smith can have a swing. And he chops it wrist away off the block and out of bounds. I really like that shot. LVC is not interested in playing any more volleyball than they absolutely have to during pool play today. They are proving it. Their sights are focused on yet another title tomorrow afternoon. Nice shot there by Predny down the line. Good delivery from Tafunga, who gets the start at setter here in the third for the Rising Tide. Was able to hold the 2 blockers for just long enough to leave that line wide open. Is that ball coming back? No, it is not. Ace serve, Nick Scherzen, ripping off the platform of Ryan Radira. And Ryan's having a tough night out there, man. The Rising Tide libero, who's just a great guy, helps run the Rising Tide team, big on social media, but having a very difficult night in reception right now. And there is yet another ace. That one a changeup ace that drops short from Scherzen, and 3 of LVC's first 5 points are service aces. They lead 5-1, looking to run away with this match, as it kind of looks right now. A third ace serve. Oh my goodness, 3 in a row. That one helped significantly by the tape. And Kubi's back there shaking his head. But they don't ask how, they ask how many. Scherzen again. That is a big foot fault. A pretty easy call, but a good trip to the service line for Nico for sure. What a pass by Evans. That is so good, but an even better block by Chun. Wow, I love the choice by Ramos to go out to Evans after passing that nail. But Owen Chun was all over it. Big stuff block, and that would normally create some momentum and some energy for some teams, but the Rising Tide look a little bit flat, maybe shell-shocked by this continued LVC service pressure. Good pressure there from Predny in response. Radira to Chun. Deep cross court dug by Ramos, but not able to be controlled, and Wickens runs out of room trying to chase it down. So good serving by John Predny set up that chance, and Chun capitalizes. Perfect pass there from Evans. Scherzen out of the back row. That ball set maybe a tiny bit too high. Now Chun in transition, rolled and dug easily. Now Rogers is slowed down. Okay, that's some defense being played here. There's another dig, this time by Wickens. Evans swinging for the fingertips. I don't think he caught them. No touch is the call. So the Rising Tide go down 5-1 early, and here they are right back in it at 6-5. Nice pass by Wickens, but Rogers can't quite connect on it fully. That means Chun can have a swing, and he goes sharp cross court, really sharp. Definitely aided by the deflection off the tape, which I'm sure Smith would blame for why he didn't dig that ball. But sure enough, we're tied up at 6. Nice service run here from John Predny. That will certainly help. Side out achieved, 14 LVC going to Scherzen out of the back row. Chun again through the block, rattled through the hands of Marshman and down, and Owen Chun is clearly the hot player right now for the Rising Tide. Tafunga might as well just chuck every ball back to him until he gets slowed down. Hasn't happened in a while. Castellano back to serve. And that ball is inbounds. A little indecision there from Team LVC's receivers. They weren't sure. Neither were we. That ball is in. Ace serve Ian Castellana, and the Rising Tide have taken the lead. Not the best pass by Wickens. Definitely an overset ball by Ramos, and I don't hate that swing from Evans at all. even though it's probably still in the air. All he wanted was a touch, and the Rising Tide block pulled their hands away very smartly. So that ball is still going. We will put in another one to play with in the meantime. Perfect pass there. Marshman off speed. Sees Chris Johnson in front of him and tips it underneath his right arm. I kind of like that choice. Very nice. Oh, what a shot by Kubi. So well disguised on the roll shot. And he draws Team LVC into the net in the process. Ball a little bit underset to Marshman. Transition chance. Kubi against only one blocker. Ramos stayed down and it paid off. Now Evans looking for fingertips, and I don't think he found them. Couple sort of wild swings, a couple uncharacteristic misconnections from Team LVC, and CJ Denk wants to talk this over. Timeout New York. After going up 5-1, it looked like it might be curtains on this match, but the Rising Tide have responded. Okay, so the Rising Tide serving out of the timeout. See what Team LVC talked about offensively in their huddle just now. They talked about not passing that ball. That is nasty. Owen Chun right down the line. And Owen Wickens had no chance. What a serve by number 9 in blue. Marshman was slowed down briefly. I think a little bit of a touch from Johnson, but that ball couldn't be dug. So Smith will go back to serve for New York, see if that polish starts to return. Oh, excuse me, it's Evans, sir. See if this polish returns to the LVC reception pattern just a little bit. That's more like it. I just heard CJ Denk scream, wait, wait, telling his blockers not to jump so early against Kubi, and the 3-man wall comes up with a point. Tricky ball for Kubi, dug by Sherzhin, and Ramos taking a swing, gets the ball back. Now Marshman off the block of Johnson, and Smith able to dodge it in time to let it go out of bounds. Perfect pass by Predny. And Johnson again in the middle continues to be pretty much unstoppable. Now Kubi's turn. Smith out of the back row, pretty much no block up. Excellent delivery there from Ramos. And Smith puts it away. Ooh, Marshman might not have liked that toss very much. Tried to catch up to it and couldn't. And now we're going to see Andrew Kim come back in to serve for the Rising Tide, who was extremely good off the bench in set 2 in the same role. So Kim will serve here for Johnson. The Rising Tide lead by 2. They're not interested in getting swept here on Sunday evening. Good pass there by Evans. Rogers in the middle, still not great contact. Now Chun in transition is stuffed straight down. What a block by Sherzhen. Rogers there as well. The connection to the middle for Team LVC lately hasn't been perfect. It's been a while since we've seen Rogers or Marshman really connect with the ball from Ramos, but the block that time bails New York out and gets back within 1. So Kim for the Rising Tide goes back to the bench. Good block there. Smith and Rogers combined to shut down Predny. Nice little late half dive by Smith to reach out to the line just a little bit. And we are tied at 14. Good service by Joey Ramos as well. More service pressure. Another swing from Predny. Good block touch. Evans is there. Sherzhen against 2 blockers. Dug by Kubi. High flat there by Predny. Nice one-handed stab. Now Sherzhen again. Dug by Radira. Beautiful defense by both teams. Kubi takes a swing, though, out of the back row and just barely misses long. That was a really good rally. So 15-14 with LVC retaking the lead. We're going to have a timeout here from the Rising Tide after one of the better rallies we've seen today. And the momentum shifting back towards the near side of your screen ever so slightly. Ramos serving for New York out of the timeout. Seems like a pretty pivotal moment right about here. And the Rising Tide keep pace. That's not going to help. Overpassed and put away off the block by Sherzhen. Now a 2-point lead. Joby Ramos' turn now to deliver a key LVC service run. We've seen it from several players. Marshman in the first set. Sherzhen every so often for sure. Now it is Joby Ramos doing the damage. I think a 4-0 run for New York right now, if I'm not mistaken. Another good serve, and Predny can't control it. Tafunga runs out of room trying to chase it down. Ace serve Joby Ramos, and the run continues. Just forced an overpass, which is the second best thing to an ace, and then follows it up with an ace. 17-14 New York. Radira fights this one off. This will be a tricky out-of-system swing for Chun. Ramos is there defensively. Wickens to Sherzhen. Two-handed sent over and dug. Predny is stuffed straight down by Rogers. Wow, I was just about to say that Predny really needs that kill, and Rogers takes it away from him. The run continues. I thought that was going to be a Rising Tide point. They had a couple swings for it, but not yet. 18-14, 6-0 run. Predny blocked by Rogers again and can't be covered. The LVC block has come alive all of a sudden. And now a substitution as Serge Nadazhdin is going to come in for John Predny, and Predny is not thrilled going to the bench after a couple times in a row stuffed by Lance Rogers. 19-14 Team LVC. What a run to potentially seal the match win. Another good serve. Smith slowed down by a good block touch. The Rising Tide has to have this point, and they don't yet. Nice set by Wickens. But Scherzen challenges the block, tries to tool the outside hand. Tafunga was ready, and finally the Rising Tide, in the form of a stuff block, get out of that rotation. And Ramos is going to grab a towel, clean up the floor. That was quite the string of points that New York just put together. And now they're in control. Rising Tide's turn to try to apply some service pressure once we get the floor taken care of, that is. Smith blasted high off the block of Chun and out of bounds. He hit that ball upwards, and it was a perfect swing. (20-15). Rising Tide need a side out on Nico Scherzen's serve right now. Nadazhdin is dug down the line by Wickens, but that ball's not able to be pursued. Nice impact there by Serge Nadazhdin off the bench. Scherzen is off the line, and now Serge, the outside hitter out of Long Beach State, will go back to serve himself. Nice run. That's the middle connection that we've been lacking a little bit for Team LVC the last 10 points or so. Rogers finally made good contact with the ball and puts it away. So now Rogers back to serve. Marshman to the front court. Score 21-16. All the pressure here on the Rising Tide. Their side out must be flawless. Chun, that's pretty flawless. That is extremely difficult to stop. But the Rising Tide have struggled here lately to produce any break points. Points on their own serve. And they're going to insert Blake Omarshin, the defensive specialist, to put in a float serve and try and dig a ball here off the bench once again. Scherzen is over the attack line. Okay, a back row attack violation called. That ball would have been dug anyway as it was off the tape. Not quite a perfect connection. 18-21, the Rising Tide hanging around. Not a good pass by Evans' hands. Omarshin makes a good defensive play, and Chun puts it away cross court. Perfect work by Blake Omarshin off the bench. The backup libero, wearing the normal colored jersey, but making a libero-like play underneath that on the pancake, and the Rising Tide are within 2. Nice swing by Chun again. Great block touch, but a net violation by the Rising Tide negates what was practically a free ball chance in transition. That is a big mistake. I believe it was Kubi who touched the block, maybe Johnson. But Team LVC definitely catches a break there, and now they put in the 6-2. Eric Martin to serve. Blake Leeson in at opposite. Oh, Chun crushed. Excellent set there from Tafunga. Had Marshman chasing the whole way. Good read by Evans to let that serve of Chun go out of bounds down the line. Now 23-20 New York. Maybe now it's Evans' turn to go on a run. This time maybe to push it across the finish line. Let's see. Good pressure. Nadazhdin fights it off. Omarshan still in the backcourt. Delivers a bump set, but Chun hits it out of bounds. And now it is match point. Team LVC with Dave Evans with the honors. Ace serve, yes! Dave Evans finishes it in style. And Team LVC, who trailed midway through this set, answer with a huge service run by Joby Ramos and a run there at the end. Dave Evans puts the punctuation mark on the match with the ace serve, and Team LVC is perfect on the day at 6-0 in sets. Team LVC will enter tomorrow's semifinals as the #1 seed, and our matchups are set tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Actually, both these matches, rematches from today, and in the same order. Tomorrow morning, the semifinals of Team LVC versus the Phoenix Ascension, followed by a semifinal of the SoCal Rising Tide versus the Boston Bounce. And last but not least, tomorrow, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, the championship match of the 2023 Tier 1 season. So that will do it for us today here in Orlando. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Team LVC against the Ascension in the semifinals. Championship Monday coming up tomorrow on this extended holiday weekend. Thanks very much for watching. Rob St. Clair signing off for now from Orlando. We will see you tomorrow morning.
Thanks so much for watching Volleyball on America Action today, ladies and gentlemen. We are done for the day here at Court 50. We will be back tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, the semifinals and the final, starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, right here on Court 50. We will see you then. William Martin, 3 for 4,